I'm just gonna record this. I'm not gonna edit it much because I realized with my last video that's not really my strong suit. So my fancy tools which failed me, I'm replacing them with just my phone. Well, my iPad, but same diff. So I'm just gonna talk about my current One Piece thoughts and theories because I have so many of them after reading chapter 1165. So first of all, I saw a video. Well, I've seen a lot of videos comparing Domi Reversi to this game that I'm forgetting the name of, but it's a game I haven't played, but my understanding is that you have to sandwich someone else's like color piece between yours, like whether you're black or white, like to flip them. And I see people saying like, so if Luffy and Bonnie both in Gear 5th form were like, I think Dawn and Dust said this, we're both on either side, then they could flip someone who's Domi Reversi back, but I don't think that's what it is. I actually think, because we don't see Imu like doing this sandwich move, Imu just has that ability. So it's maybe like inspired by the game, but my guess is it's not exactly like the game, and that another thing is that Imu is just the only person who is like the leader of this team, this game, I don't know, that side of the board, and they're the person who has the ability to switch people, and then Luffy is the one who can switch the white chips over, or switch, he's the one who's able to do that, because he inspired Bonnie to do it, and also when he awakened his devil fruit, Kaido was like, but I'm not made of rubber, and we didn't see anyone like turn to string at Doffy's hands or like turn to mochi at Katakuri's hands, even though their fruits were awakened. So why was Luffy able to turn Kaido to rubber? Maybe he can transfer like the way Imu can transfer the demonic abilities, Luffy can transfer the sun god abilities. And that could, like, he could learn how to do that. Like, I have a feeling there's going to be a second time skip training arc, which I mentioned in my last video, and that, which is impossible to hear. I'm working on that. Hopefully this one's better. But anyways, I think there's going to be another time skip training arc. Luffy's maybe going to, like, he's already pretty up there in strength. Like, he could train his Conqueror's Haki better, but if he learned a new technique, like being able to actually turn people and power them up in that way and get them to fight for his cause, like I'm hoping he could use it not just to turn enemies but also to power up his teammates, because that would be awesome. But I think that's more likely than it having to be like a sandwich thing that they figure out. But if it were, I totally forgot who said this in what video, but if it were, I think it could be like Film Red, where it has to be sandwiched between two worlds, like the underworld, because maybe Imu's part of Imu's down there. I don't know, like in the abyss or whatever. They have to have a player. That could be more likely if it ends up being a sandwiching thing. But the other thing that I really liked about reading this week's chapter 1165 is the panel where after Roger's like, "You should join me," and Garp says, "Hell no." He's like, "If I quit, who would protect the Marines?" And it's so simple, but I hadn't even considered that. Like, duh. And obviously we've seen him, like, so people are comparing him to, I've seen a lot of takes on it and I think a lot of them are right, but like the way I see it is, yes, he's trying to protect individual Marines, like the way Kobe was during Marineford, like, oh no, too many innocent people are dying. But that's not how he feels, because when they did like the training flashback of the two of them, Garp's whole thing was like, don't save the old man and the baby, like you take the baby and the yourself and you let the old man die, because the next generation is the most important thing. Like, Garp is not actively still beating up celestial dragons. It's great to know that he was, but he's not doing that. That's not his thing right now. Like, he's into the next generation and carving a path, like with Aokiji and with Kobe. He wants to promote the people who have the right mindset to have the strength to make the change, because he knows if he does something like accept an admiral position, he won't be able to influence the younger generation. And that's like his whole thing, his strength. He's like, I'm too old or whatever. And maybe he already felt that way on God Valley, but like maybe back then it was more about individual Marines. But that's probably why he cared so much about Luffy joining too, because he was like, we needed someone good in the Marines, like someone strong who can rise to the top and take the seat of Sengoku. And then ended up happening with Akainu, and he's obviously a little bit disappointed by that. He was probably rooting for Kuzan. But anyways, that's what I'm thinking about right now. I've seen a lot more Luffy's mom theories coming out, and I think someone's like, people are saying tritoma, and if that's true, what if Luffy was born on Amazon Lily as a little baby girl, and then in order to hide him from the government, Ivankov stepped in and helped out? Talk about forget Crocodile, like, I'm on to Luffy now, because that's something that would make that theory really interesting to me, and Luffy would become so much more to so many people. That would be wild to have that happen. It would be great. But I don't know. But I'm thinking more about that, and also Robin's dad, because I have heard before that Dragon could be Robin's dad, and that would make Luffy and her siblings. And I do like that idea, but I'm still on the fence. But I'm like, if she was probably born on Ohara, Olvia was, but like maybe she was there that day, like one of the people he saved. That would be really cool, like if she was a God Valley native. And yeah, that would be awesome. But I'm feeling awesome about One Piece. God Valley flashback seems over. Probably gonna get back to Elbaf soon, see what's going on there. And it would be amazing if Luffy really was able to, like, if Loki goes out there like raging, if Luffy was able to turn him good. And then, like, I'm also feeling more and more like Loki's gonna join the crew because of just how parallel his introduction was to Zoro's. I mean, that's something Oda would do, you know, completely. So I could see it happening. And maybe if Luffy can, like, transfer his rubberness to Loki, they can, like, he can get on the ship easier, shrink down or something. I don't know. They'll probably just make him his own boat. I mean, Frankie could totally do that. He'd love to work with that tree. Isn't that right? Oh, he's back there. But yeah, One Piece is going crazy. It's amazing as always. And big things coming. I also thought maybe, what's his face? Summers. Saying Summers could be Robin's dad because they both have flower abilities, like the flower and the thorn. But I'm not sure about that, but it could be possible because he did seem to, like, gosh, I should have reread the chapter. That made me think that before I started saying this. But nonetheless, I thought it would have maybe been interesting, but, like, he could be some jaded celestial dragon, who his dream failed and his wife got killed and Buster called and his daughter disappeared, and that's why he's, like, love hurts. But, after seeing the way he was on God Valley, I'm like, that probably wasn't the case unless Olvia had time to, like, change him. But after God Valley, I'm leaning more towards Olvia and Dragon than Olvia and Summers. But I wasn't even really, that just crossed my mind because of the Thorn and Flower connection. But honestly, maybe they'll have some bigger connection because of that. I forget what the other Summers does, which chair he is, which planet, but if it's like history, that would be crazy. Big connection there. Anyways, I should have done my research. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any tips on making a video that's not really freaking quiet or low quality, let me know. Cheers, guys.